On this edition of the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, I am joined by starting defensive end Travez Moore. Joining us in just a moment on this edition of the Locked On Sun Devils podcast.
You are Locked On Sun Devils, your daily podcast on the Arizona State Sun Devils, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome back to this edition of the Locked On Sun Devils podcast. My name is Richie Bradshaw, and I will be your guide for everything Arizona State Sun Devils. Thank you guys so much for making us your first listen every day. Remember, we're free and available on all platforms, including YouTube, if you would like to check us out in a visual platform. Wherever you do get those podcasts, so make sure that you hit like and subscribe and turn on those notifications so you get an update every time we post new content. Joining me on the podcast today is Travez Moore, going into his second year with Arizona State, the starting defensive end for the Sun Devils as well. Definitely expecting a big season. Travez, thanks so much for coming on. How you doing today, bud? Awesome. We're so thrilled to have you on. You very, very quietly, because I don't know how many people really care about my opinion, but I am incredibly excited for you this year. I think there's a huge bounce back coming after that unfortunate knee injury from last year.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I've been working for ever since the knee injury happened. That's what I've literally been working towards, like for the best comeback.
That's what we like to hear. All right. Going into just kind of getting to know you, for any of the fans who may not be completely familiar with Travez Moore. So doing a little bit of digging for myself, Louisiana kid, born and raised, it looks like, played high school at Bastrop High School in Louisiana, went to Copiah Lincoln Community College, and then transferred to LSU. So definitely a big time Louisiana kid, I can see.
Oh yeah, born in, like you said, Louisiana run right through my veins.
So when you ended up going to Copiah Lincoln and then eventually moving on to LSU, was that kind of an easy decision for you to stay in state, or were there any other options that were kind of on the board that really kind of piqued your interest?
Yeah. So actually, what happened was with that, I still had like the same offers I had out of high school, which is Mississippi State, Oregon. I actually had Arizona State too. Also, I had like so many offers. I remember off the top of my head, but I remember Arizona State and Florida, LSU was actually like my top three coming out of high school. I'm a Louisiana kid, so I chose LSU. And when I was about to leave LSU, I still had the Arizona State. The head coach then was, I want to say Todd Graham. I think I want to believe that was. And I just decided to stay because I'm just like, yeah, I'm just gonna stay at home, be close to my mom. Me going to LSU too, because she was crying. She didn't want me to leave out of state, so I was like, okay, mom, I'll please you in this.
There you go. Nothing wrong with that. Staying close to family, staying close to home, and all that good stuff. Obviously, your time at LSU was pretty exciting. You got to be a part of a 15-0 national championship team. What is that feeling like, man, to be able to experience a national championship, be playing with so many NFL players, and just all the fun pieces that came together for just a totally magical season for one of the best teams college football's ever seen?
It was amazing, man. It was a blessing too. I learned a lot that year. I learned so much, and I grew so much. Like when I first came in Copiah, and when I put the LSU championship, man, watching like guys like Patrick Quinn, Caleb Chase, Andre Anthony, like all those guys. Like, I was just like learning from them guys. Like I came in like I didn't really get a technique. I thought it was all athletic ability. Like them guys, like nah, man, it's supposed to be done. Including Joe Burrow. I just seen how he was like doing stuff. Even though he didn't play the same position he did, and I saw him go through, man. It taught me how to like prepare myself for like games, man. It was a magical year. Honestly, it was like living in the movie.
Oh yeah, I can only imagine, and I'm sure there was lots of iron sharpens iron down there because, like I said, just so many talented players that you got to be a part of and get to know. Do you still talk with a lot of those guys? Do you still have relationships with guys like Patrick Queen or Derek Stingley or Rashard Lawrence or any of the other guys from that defense?
Yeah, man, we always like on work together. Andre Anthony, Kelvin, man, Kelvin Chason actually trained with the same as Brandon Jordan. So I see them guys once, like when we like train in the off season. So I still keep in contact with all those guys.
That's so cool, man. Like I would love one day for Arizona State to even be in national title contention. To be able to play at that level is just got to be the coolest thing. And if I'm not mistaken, was that your second year with LSU or was that your first year that you got there?
LSU. The second year when I got there, that's when we put it all together. My second year just came together, like like a lock, man. We was tight, man.
What's it like in Baton Rouge? Because I imagine you see all the cool stuff about how exciting and how loud it gets down in Death Valley when you guys are playing in front of a student section that is second to none. I mean, LSU has put together a great football program. Their alumni are awesome, and I don't hear anything bad about the LSU fans. Do you still have some big love for that school?
Yeah, I still do, man. LSU's always gonna be in my heart. You know what I'm saying? Because they stayed loyal out of high school. Went to Papaya Lincoln, and like the fans, like they still stay loyal to me. Even when I'm proud of you, thank you for like what you did. For, like they just, so they send me like my flowers and like like that. So LSU fans like the best fans. Like no offense to Arizona State fans, but you know what I'm saying. They love me too. And when I was there, and man, they go crazy, bro. Like the atmosphere, man. Like it's like when you even when you're in the tunnel, you hear the fans like footsteps, like they just like ready for us to come out. If you get on the field, man, you can just feel all their energy, like just buy into like the team, and like you feed off their energy. And, like the fans are giving us that energy, like and the other team know like, hey, you in Death Valley, so it's about to be a long night for you, and like you can see the team, like they feel the crowd energy too. Like man, that's like the most magical and like most I ever seen.
I can only imagine just how much fun that is. There's a reason SEC football gets so much hype. It's just a whole other world down there. It's a whole other religion that you guys get to enjoy. It's definitely a lot different here on the West Coast, but we'll talk about that in just a second. We're going to go ahead and hop into our first break. When we return, we're going to continue our conversation with Travez Moore and talk to him about his decision to bring his talents to Tempe and play for the Arizona State Sun Devils. This is the Locked On Sun Devils podcast. As you gear up for fall, you need the right people on your team to help your small business fire on all cylinders. LinkedIn Jobs is here to make it easier to find the people you want to talk to faster and for free. Create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 810 million people. Then add your job and use the purple hashtag framing to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring so your network can help you find the right people to hire. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rank LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading contenders. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Again, that's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions will apply. And again, thank you guys so much for making the Locked On Sun Devils your first listen every day. Remember, we are always free and available on all platforms. Hopping back into our conversation now with Travez Moore. defensive end, edge rusher for Arizona State. Travez, I gotta ask you just flat out, what brought you to Arizona State? I mean, it's certainly a very different world from LSU in more ways than one. Other side of the country, we aren't used to having national title contending football teams the way that LSU does. What was kind of the draw that brought you to Arizona State?
So now I was leaving LSU. I had to sit down with my parents and my friends and family. I think it's just time for me to do a fresh start, because what you know is, when you all the coaches basically like the defensive coordinator and like receivers coach, everybody, they got new coaching jobs, and we brought in a new staff. So things with size is like talking to my family. It's like, I just need a fresh start. So like when I put my name in the portal, I had like teams in the Ole Miss, Tennessee, Mississippi State, and I was just like, man, I really want a fresh start, like a fresh start. And so behold, man, I prayed on it. I was like, man, God, just send me a random, like, just somebody I ain't never heard, like, just really just paid attention to or heard of. Behold, Coach Antonio Pierce, like, DM me, like right before I was about to sign my letter, like, he hit me up, and he's like, hey, we're looking for edge rushers. So like, oh, Arizona State. It's funny because they offered me out of high school, and I ain't paying attention to them out of high school, and I looked, I thought about it, and I watched them play. I want to say that was 2021. I want to say they played 2020. I saw them play USC. I was seeing them play, and I was like, man, that kind of remind me of like the national championship defense. How them guys was just fighting, getting in there, like competing with them guys. And I was like, you know what? I said, I think I'm just gonna like make. I was like, man, Mom, this time I gotta not listen to you this time. I gotta go, and because that's the first start I can get. You know what I'm saying? Like South, the kid from South going to West Arizona State. This is the second time reaching out to me, so I was like, I think it's meant to be. So like, and Antonio Pierce, I want to play for Coach Herm, Rob Rodriguez, Marvin Lewis. Guys that's been in the NFL, and like they know how it is and how you prepare for the NFL. So I was like, you know what? That's what I want. I want somebody to show me how to prepare like an NFL player. And this was to like no other school has this many pro coaches that have been head coaches or something. Like, okay, that's why I'm gonna put myself. I'm gonna put myself in the best situation to get ready for the future.
Absolutely love that you ended up making us your decision. Is it pretty different from what you're used to down south? Because I imagine that the massive city life that is Tempe is probably a little different than what you were used to, or was it kind of an easy transition for you?
Well, moving it costs a lot of money moving out here, but
Oh yeah,
other than that, man, it was an adjustment. Like it was a culture change. From football down there is like it's like a religion, man. It's like you go. If it ain't church, it's definitely football, and and that's how they treat it at Tempe. It's a big city, man. Like it's big, and there's so much to do out here with, and football out here. I can tell Arizona State fans love football too, though. You know what I'm saying? Out here different. It's a lot of spreading around the ball, and not as much as running it is. And when I came out here, man, I was like, man, it's the West Coast football is different. It's so loose, fast, and then got some great competition out here also. So like they're really that more of a cultural adjustment for me.
yeah, 100%. And coming out to Arizona State, I mean, there's so much that has been moving around recently, as you know, like lots of transfers, lots of departures from the coaching staff. Uh, we're going to be looking at a lot of guys to be stepping up into big time leadership roles. Looking at the defense, particularly, Eric Gentry and Jermaine Lole are gone from a defense a year ago. Now, obviously, Lole had been injured last year, but prior to that had proven himself to be very good. Gentry had a great year. both of them are gone in the front seven alone. We're going to be looking at guys like Travez Moore to really step up. Now, is that going to be something that is maybe going to be a little difficult, or do you think that you got this program firmly in your grasp? You're ready to be the leader of the defense and pound your chest and be the lion amongst everyone?
Oh yeah, man. I'm tested for this, man. Um, like I said, man, first you to hear, I've been battle tested for this, like literally, like since my whole career. Because people don't know Test Sweat, defensive end, starting defensive end for the Washington Commanders. I had to, man. I had to learn from him too, man. Like I had to compete with him. Another first round pick, like a lot of guys, man. Like I had to learn from, and I feel like all that it prepared me for this moment, include my knee injury. It tested me mentally. Like, it tested me to see head down and power and just coach off in the back, or you gonna continue to want to be in the front, be the front, to make some noise. The first one to step on the field, you know what I'm saying. The first one to just show the example how. And I feel like when all this stuff that was going on with the program, I was like, I'm ready to be that guy from this day on. From my knee injury, from this day on, to be the guy, to be the one step out on the field. So I'm really ready for this.
Not just the leadership role too. We didn't get to see too much of you last year because of that knee injury, but the people who were watching Arizona State definitely took notice of you. The way that you just blew up right off the snap, you were causing havoc in the backfield. In the 3 games, you turned 6 of your tackles into 2.5 for loss and a sack. I mean, generating pressure was not a problem for you. So I am willing to bet that you're going to tell me right now that you're ready not just to be a leader, but to maybe be the best defensive player on this team, right?
Oh yeah, man, I'm ready for it, man. I'll be training training hard. If I feel like if I ain't training hard enough, I ain't getting enough training, man. I'll wake up out of my sleep randomly, man. I ain't do enough. I ain't doing enough sets. I ain't doing enough reps because I still want to have that that ability to affect the game. You know what I'm saying? I still want to feel it because I haven't played football 6 really practice either because my knee injury. And I just got clear 2 weeks, 3. Man, I got I'm ready and so I feel like being the best player on the. I don't feel like me personally. I don't feel like I'm the best player on the field, but I like to think that I am. But player on the field, so.
We're definitely looking forward to it, man. Like I said, there's a lot of departures on the defensive side of the ball. Guys are going to be needing to step up. I think that you're more than ready for that challenge. If you pick up where you picked up on last year, I mean, the sky seems to be the limit for you. We're going to go ahead and hop into our second and final break. When we return for the third segment, we got to talk to Travez about his goals and aspirations for this season. You know, what's he looking at stat-wise? He looking at awards, wins, losses, NFL future? We'll talk about that in just a moment on this edition of the Locked On Sun Devils podcast. BetOnline continues to be your number one source for all your betting needs. Find all your favorite sports and events at the number one source for odds, lines, and games. Find reviews and news of every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports wagering information. From live in-game betting, scores, and podcasts, they have you covered. Head to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action happening right now. BetOnline, where the game starts. And you guys got to make sure that you are staying in touch with everything Pac-12 by subscribing to the Locked On Pac-12 podcast hosted by Spencer McLaughlin. It's free and available on all platforms, just like the Locked On Sun Devils, so make it your second listen of the day. Travez, before we let you go, I got to ask you just about your own aspirations, your own goals and dreams and whatnot with ASU. I think we'll start off nice and easy, bouncing back from that injury. What are some numbers you want to get? How many sacks do you want? How many turnovers do you want? How much of an impact do you want to make for this defense?
I'm gonna keep it basically short. You know what I'm saying? And the sacks and the stats. I basically player of the year. that's my goal. Like that's the defensive player of the year. Cause I seen a kid from I think Utah. He went back. You know what I'm saying? I seen that he got it, and I was like, you know what? He set the standard. You know, I'm talking about when I never brought this up. Either. Like when I'm competing, like the kid from Alabama, like position, like Will Anderson, like I'm competing to be that guy. Like I'm competing to be that guy. I'm competing with that guy. Like here, like you know what I'm saying. Even though we don't play on the same team, I feel like player of like the year in the Pac-12, and that's really my goal. Like, and that's what I've been training. That's just the goal right there. And sack wise, you know what I'm saying. Like I had the same goal from last year. I want Terrell Suggs sack record. I definitely want to get close to it. Like, and that's really the goal. I walk past I walk in the stadium every day, and I see those guys like the legendary, the stadium. And I like, man, one day they probably gonna be me, man. If I just try to be great every day, and that's my goal, man. Like I want to be a part of this. I want to be the best kid that came through here, man. Because you know what I'm saying. Like I came from a program that was already their hierarchy, LSU, and like I want to be a part of that history. Like when Arizona State their peak when this school is legendary. Because one day Arizona State is going to, and I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of that history, and that's really my goals, man. School, bro, like this is like honestly, like, Arizona State, I love it. Like I love everything about it. The fan base. I want to make legendary status here before I leave.
There's definitely a lot of great defensive players that have come through this program, like Terrell Suggs, you just mentioned. I mean, the 24 sacks in one season feels like a completely made up number. It just feels absolutely insane. But I mean, if anyone's going to break it, it would only feel fitting that it gets to be an Arizona State player. So we'll absolutely be rooting for you in that department. Are there any like awards that you're going to be looking out for this year? Or are you just more focused on winning football games and finding a way to prove that Arizona State is, better than people want to give them credit for?
Yeah, man. That's what I'm not too big on that. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like really like a team goal type of guy. But you know what I'm saying? If I had to shoot an end or whatever they want to call me, some people call him defensive end or outside linebacker, or you know what I'm saying? But like team wise, man, like shit. I mean, excuse my language, but I want to get the Rose Bowl, and like I want to have people talking about Arizona State, like putting us in the college football team. Like people are shocked, man. Like people are like, man, Arizona State, like wow, like man, like that's really my ultimate goal to get to the college football playoffs because I've been there before and I've seen what it feels like. I'm feeling here now. Like I want ASU to get that feeling.
I think that's something that not a lot of people have really taken into account is Travez, you have been there. You have been on the biggest stage in college football. You've been to the playoff. You've been to the championship. You took on Trevor Lawrence and the Clemson Tigers. You've taken on Alabama. You've taken on Georgia. You've played the best of the best that college football has to offer. There's there is not enough conversation, for me at least, about people who are willing to say that, you know what, we should look at Travez more because Travez has that experience. I think that's an edge that not a lot of people are really considering. And I think it's something that you could make people regret because I'll tell you what, the Rose Bowl is just the dream for a Pac-12 team, like you just brought up. We all want a Rose Bowl every year. If we found a way to get to the Rose Bowl this year, my goodness, you guys would be enshrined forever. But it's just the best thing to hear that you guys have those Rose Bowl aspirations. I think a lot of people are sleeping on the Sun Devils this year. I think there's a lot of question marks, but I think that there's a lot of mentality of, next guy up and we're going to be better than people think. So, final thoughts here. Uh, Goals for Arizona State, we just went over. I'm just curious for me, NFL dreams. I'm sure we want to get there, right?
Yeah, I definitely want to get there.
Who are some guys that maybe you kind of modeled your game after growing up, even now any role models or anything like that?
Yeah, man. Actually, so the guys that I like, I never like a role model anybody I want to like play like, but like I took some time out on my knee injury, and I was like Max Crosby. He's like a guy. Like I was like, man, like that guy played. Man, like I remember I commented like on one of his Instagram posts, or I DM'd him, and he actually DM'd me back, and I was like I want to get just like you. He's like, he's like, no, be better than me, and I'd be better than you. Like you want me to like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, man, I gotta train like that, man. I gotta prove him right. Cause you know what I'm saying? I had a little conversation with him, and other guys like Brian Burns, like those three guys, those top three guys I watched, like those just to watch how to like model.
Dude, it's funny you bring up Brian Burns because I feel like you and him are very similar in just long, explosive, fast off the line, and converting that speed to power. I think that you two could be very similar guys in that aspect. So it's funny you bring him up, bringing up Max Crosby as well. That's one I haven't heard before, which I really like because that's a Pro Bowler for the Raiders. That's a really good guy. Even cooler that he reached back out to you. What was that kind of like to have a Pro Bowler reach back out and say, be better than me, like you said?
Man, like I even when he initially sent the message, man, I didn't even know. Like I had woke up and I was reading it. Like I sat there and read that same message like for like at least an hour. I pinned it back around. I was like, bro, Max Crosby really just said it to me. Like I was like, man, do it then. Like I gotta do it. He said be better. So okay, I gotta be better. Like I gotta do it. And so I going like I said this year, bro. It's like I'm filled up with so much revenge, bro. Like I'm ready. Like when Wednesday get here, like that's when it starts. Like that's when the wolf get to cry. Like that's when I get to go out there and like show people like this is the warm up. Every team we play just gotta feel me now. Like I just gotta show them like, hey, I'm here. I'm him. I'm that. And ever since I read that message from Max Crosby, that's been extra fuel to the fire for me. So like, I'm just like, I got
Love to hear.
goosebumps.
Love to hear it, dude. That's what makes the game so much fun is being able to make those connections like that. Final thoughts. What do you got to say to Sun Devil fans who maybe you're kind of lukewarm, half in, half out on this team this year? What do you got to say to everyone?
Hey man, I gotta say this. If you sleep on us, you know what I'm saying? Hey, that's fine. You're entitled to that opinion. But for the real Sun Devil fans that think we can do this and show it to the game to support us, you gonna get let down this season. Like we gonna show everybody wrong, and then what they gonna say then? So like y'all keep watching us. We're gonna prove everybody wrong this year.
Love to hear it. This has been Travez Moore, the future Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year this year. Travez, thanks again so much for stopping by. Really appreciate your time. All right, guys, that'll wrap up this edition of Locked On Sun Devils. Again, thank you guys so much for making us your first listen every day. Remember, we're free and available on all platforms, including YouTube, if you want to check us out in a visual platform. Wherever you do get your podcast, though, make sure that you hit like and subscribe and turn on notifications so you get an update every time we post new content. But until next time, you keep it locked right here on Locked On Sun Devils.